Hello guys. Hello guys, welcome back. In this video, let us learn some more interesting topics related to AWS CloudFront. I hope you watched the previous video. Now, in this video, let us learn some more detail about caching and how to implement this in real time and what are the things that we need to take care when using this on real time. So you can see in the previous video, I have already told this CloudFront. What this CloudFront will distribute your data under edge locations, right? Yeah. So how this distribution happens? In the edge locations only the distribution happens, or in any places the distribution also happens. Mainly this caching happens in 3 layers. How many layers? 3 layers. Caching happens in 3 layers. So what are they? You have already seen the bottommost layer, that is this edge location, right? Yeah. So in total, how many edge locations that AWS will maintain is at total of 300 edge locations. At total of 300 edge locations, this CloudFront allows you to distribute. This CloudFront allows you to distribute, or else you can say this CloudFront distribution happens at 300 edge locations. CloudFront distribution happens, right? Yeah. So on top of this, on regional edge locations also, so it also create caches at regional edge locations as well. On regional edge locations as well, it creates caches. That means what caches it creates at regional edge locations? It creates regional edge caches at regional edge locations. So how many these regional edge locations we have? We have totally 13 regional edge locations. May these improve, this count may improve in future as well. Now there is an optional caching also there. So while you're creating your CloudFront distribution, it will ask you, if you want, you can enable this. That is, it will create you AWS Origin Shield. What it will create? It will create you an AWS Origin Shield. If you want, you can enable it. It's an optional. It's an optional caching layer. Optional caching layer. So mainly there are 3 caching layers. First one is edge location. First one is that 300 edge locations, and second one is 13 regional edge caches, and fourth one is it's an optional layer. While creating your CloudFront distribution, if you enable this, then only it will create. That is AWS Origin Shield. So where it creates, it is also an edge cache layer which is present in between regional edge caches. So which is present in between regional edge caches. So if you enable it, then only it will be created. It's an additional caching layer creates between where? It creates between regional edge caches. Regional edge caches. So in between 2 regional edge caches, these AWS Origin Shield caches will also create. So these are the 3 layers where your caching happens in AWS CloudFront distribution. So now let us see about security. Security of your data at rest. So whenever you use this CloudFront distribution, How does it provide you security for your data at rest? Security. Under this, if your data is at rest, then how does it protect? To protect your data at rest, it uses encrypted SSD. Encrypted SSD as storage, as data storage. That means it stores your data under where encrypted SSD to provide security to your data whenever it is at rest. So it can provide you protection of your data at rest by using encrypted SSD for storing your data. Now clients will access, now users will access my data, right? Yeah. So I want to avoid unauthorized users to access my data. To avoid unauthorized unauthorized users to access the data stored in CloudFront. Stored in CloudFront, what we do? So we use signed URLs. We use signed URLs and cookies. We use signed URLs and cookies. We use signed URLs and cookies to restrict access to specific users. To restrict access to specific users. Or you can say to restrict access to unauthorized users as well. Right? Yeah. So we use signed URLs and cookies to restrict access to unauthorized users for accessing my data which is stored in CloudFront. Right? In this way, we can able to protect our data from accessing from unauthorized users. You can even restrict access to your content. We can even restrict access to our content. Restrict access to your content. How? By using AWS WAF. AWS WAF. So by using this AWS WAF, you can able to even restrict access to your content. So these are the ways where you can able to secure your content or data in specific, you can say. Now you can even use geographic restrictions that we have already provided, that we have already said in the previous video. You can also use geographic restrictions. So while configuring your CloudFront, you can able to set geographic restrictions to restrict access to your content for certain regions from accessing your content, right? Yeah. So now let us see monitoring. Monitoring is also important here, right? Yeah. So how can we able to monitor this? So for monitoring, you can able to monitor this service by using CloudFront logs. So in order to monitor this, what you use CloudFront logs. So same like VPC logs, here also you have an option that is CloudFront logs. By using that, you can able to monitor this CloudFront distribution resource that you created. And you can even able to watch the logs under general resource logs monitoring service. What is this? A service where you can able to monitor all your resources related logs. What is that service? CloudTrail. CloudTrail. So by using this CloudTrail logs, you can able to monitor account level actions, or you can say account level resource access. So can I say this CloudFront resource access also will be monitored or recorded there? Yes. So under CloudTrail, you can able to see the history, event history, there your logs will be present. So even you can individually monitor this cloud CloudFront distribution by creating what? By creating CloudWatch alarms. By creating CloudWatch alarms, you can even able to monitor this CloudFront individually, right? This CloudWatch is used to monitor any service, any resource individually. So these are the two general ways where we can able to watch the logs. And here by using CloudFront logs, you can able to create logs for particularly for CloudFront as well. Same like how we created for VPC logs, same like that. Here also you can able to see CloudFront logs. So now let us see the real-time implementation of this CloudFront. Let us see the real-time implementation of this CloudFront. So CloudFront. So when do we use this CloudFront? Do we use this for hosting? Do we use this for caching only, or static content, or dynamic content, or both? We use this CloudFront. We use this CloudFront for caching both static as well as dynamic content, both static as well as dynamic websites. What? We use this CloudFront for caching our both static as well as dynamic content caching, right? Yeah. So let's say your server, your dynamic content, dynamic content you can able to cache by using this CloudFront. And another one is what? Static content, right? Yeah, static content. So what do you mean by dynamic content? That means dynamic website, dynamic websites, right? Yeah. Whereas static content indicates static websites. Okay. Now, what is the way that we use to host these dynamic websites? We use servers, right? So in order to host this dynamic website, we use generally servers. So what is the service that we use as servers in AWS? EC2. EC2 instances, we use them as servers. So if we use multiple EC2 instances and created some servers, so who is the person will distribute traffic among those servers? Load balancer, right? Yeah. So this dynamic content or dynamic website will be accessed by using what? That load balancer, that EC2 load balancer. Let's say I'm having a website where that website is created by using servers, where I use it servers as EC2 instances. And in order to balance my requests coming to the servers, I am using my load balancer. So I'm calling the whole thing as EC2 load balancer. EC2 load balancer. By using that, I created my server. Now, what I want to cache my servers. So what I require, I want to cache my servers. Can I cache this by using CloudFront? Yes, you can cache your server's content, whatever the dynamic content which is stored under your servers, that will be cached by using this CloudFront. So for that, you need to first create distribution. In this video, let us see about how to create a CloudFront distribution. For that, you can see under the search, I'm clicking on CloudFront. You can see the CloudFront service is available here. Just click it so that it will open. Now you can see for the first time, if you visit, then it will be like that, like this. After you created the first CloudFront distribution, then it won't be like this. It will show you the distributions. You can see here distributions. If you click it, then also it will redirect to here only. After creating any CloudFront distribution, it will show you the CloudFront distributions available in this page. Now I'm clicking on create CloudFront distribution. Now let us see what are the things that we can able to provide here. You can see origin domain. You can able to provide S3 as origin domain, or you can able to provide elastic load balancer. So in this example, if you host your servers under elastic load balancer, then you can able to provide the load balancer. Currently in my account, I'm not having any elastic load balancers activated. And even you can provide a API gateway as well. So through this gateway, whoever requested, they'll get the CloudFront distribution. And these are the additional services that are just providing service for CloudFront distribution. For these services also, now CloudFront distribution is provided. What are they? Media store containers, media package containers, and media package V2 endpoints. So now let us select any one of the bucket. So I'm selecting this. Now you can see origin path. It's an optional. You don't even need to provide. You can see name of the bucket. So whenever you selected that, name of the bucket will be entered here automatically. I haven't entered anything. So you can see origin access. So public bucket must be public access. So I put this. You can see custom header. Now what is the purpose and what is the need of this custom header? Let's say, let's say you client, your client requested your website. Your client requested for the first time to your CloudFront distribution. Then your request will be routed to where? Whatever the origin source that you provided. Either it may be elastic load balancer or else it may be S3 bucket, right? Yeah. So now let's say the user found the IP address of it for my elastic load balancer as well as elastic load balancer or S3 bucket URL. Now, can he able to bypass the request from CloudFront and he can directly able to request my website? Yes. So since he is having my website URL, that is load balancer URL or S3 static website hosting URL, he can able to directly put that under browser and he can able to directly request my website, right? Yeah. So if we do this, then what are the CloudFront caches? So those all will be useless for me. So in order to avoid that type of request, from hackers, so we need to use this header name and value. If you use this header name and value, so whenever anyone requested this CloudFront distribution, then each and every time this CloudFront distribution will send this header value. So whatever the header you provide. So you can say, let's say my header name will be header1 and header value will be Spark. Like this I want to put. So whenever a user requests for my website through this CloudFront distribution, then additional to request, it also generates this header name and value. So since it generates both header and its value, it also sends these two with a request. So whenever your source origin, either it may be elastic load balancer or it may be S3 bucket, it can able to accept the request only when the header name is this and value is this. So in that case, we can able to avoid the request of bypassing the CloudFront. What are the CloudFront that we are creating? Bypassing the CloudFront and directly requesting to. So you can see here, when our client requests, then goes to Route 53, then it goes to CloudFront. CloudFront must be present in between. What is that? CloudFront. So CloudFront will be present in between. Then it routes based on certain criteria to nearest edge location, like that. It will route to any edge location, and then it will provide the response from that edge cache to the client, right? Yeah. So whenever client bypasses that and client requests to directly to the ELB, then what happens? My website becomes a response slowly, or so I want to avoid this CloudFront. I want to avoid this bypassing of request. So what I'm expecting is client request goes through CloudFront, and then it goes to any one of the edge location, and then he got the response. So like that I am expecting. So in order to overcome the client's response directly to Elastic Load Balancer or S3, so what we are creating? We're creating a header name and a header value. So whenever he requests for a website, for my website, then my request will first hit this distribution, then it will create these two values in addition to my request. Then the request forwarded to where Elastic Load Balancer or S3, then there the origin sources Elastic Load Balancer or S3 will check whether your request contain header name and header value, then only it will accept the request. In this way, they can able to avoid the direct access to the origins for the users. So in this way, we can able to avoid that origin access. So that's why we use this header values. So it is recommended to use it. It is a best practice to use this header name and value. You can see enable origin shield. So just previously in this video only we said that. So in which layers caching will happen? 3 layers, right? By default, these edge locations and these regional edge caches will be created. But if you want, you can able to create this AWS origin. So how many caching layers I have? I have 3 caching layers. First one is edge locations. Second one is regional edge caches. And third one, it is an optional layer, that is AWS origin shield. So when this origin shield will be activated, or when this will be created, is this will create in between regional edge caches, right? Yeah. So when this will create is whenever you enable this option, what is this? Enable origin shield option. Then only it will create the origin shield. Then only it will create the origin shield. Otherwise, it won't create this AWS origin shield. So if you require, then you can able to create. Here you can see origin shield is an additional caching layer that can help reduce the load on your origin and help to protect its availability zone. So like this, it provides you AWS origin shield in between regional locations. In this way, it can able to protect you. If you want, you can select yes. If not required, then move on with a no. If you select yes, then which region you want to create, that also you need to select. So this is the thing. Now under the additional options, you can see connection items 3 and total. So these are the default options that you don't even need to provide these. You can see default caching behavior. The default caching behavior, yeah, you can see the viewers protocol policy. So which protocol that viewers can able to use, that is client can able to request. So if you want to accept the request only from HTTPS only, then click here. If you are expecting to accept request from both HTTP and HTTPS, then select this. Or else if you want to redirect the traffic of HTTP to HTTPS, then you can choose this option. So currently I'm expecting access to my request for both HTTP and HTTPS, so that I selected this. You can see HTTP methods. So whenever client accesses your website, so what are the methods that he can able to perform? Those things you need to provide here. Only he can able to perform get action or head action, or if he can able to get options also, then you can select this. If you are expecting your client to put post and patch, these options also if you want to provide, then select this. So if you don't want, then select this. If you select this post options, then you also need to tell caching happens or not. So if you want, then you can select this option. If not, then click on this get head. So getting and header details. Now you can see restrict viewers. So while discussing, we have told that you can able to restrict users. So based on signed cookies and signed URLs, you can able to restrict what are the users will access your content. So if you want to restrict them, then click on S and provide this, or else if you don't want to restrict any user, just click on no. Now you can see caching key and origin request. So you can see functional associations and WAF firewall. So we have discussed about this WAF firewall. So do not enable security protection and enable security protection. So if you do not enable security protection, if you select this option, it does not provide you security protection from WAF. If you want, then you can click here so that it will provide. You can use it for monitoring mode as well. So under the settings, you can see price class. So here your price will be appended on you based on the continents that you selected. So while discussing about it, we have told you what, so which continents, in which continents you want to caching need to be happened. That also you need to specify, right? Yeah. So here you can see if you want to use all edge locations, if you want to cache for all edge locations, then your price will be different. If you want to cache for only North America, then your price will be different. If you want to cache for only these top continents, then your price will be different. Now I'm expecting to cache to all edge locations, so that's why I selected this. So this name is canonical name. So it's an optional field. If you provide this name, then also the request coming to this name will be redirected to your website. You can see SSL certificate. Why this SSL certificate is used is in order to provide protection of your data in transit. So for this, you need to create a request for the certificate, and then you can able to provide here. You can able to provide ACM or IAM certificate. You can see supported HTTP versions. You have HTTP 2 and HTTP 3. So based on the version that you want to support, you can support the particular, or else you can support both. So that's it. You can see standard logging. If you want to store your logs to S3 bucket, then choose that particular S3 bucket so that there your data will be stored, right? Yeah. The logs will be created and stored. So if you want logs for certain prefix, then you can even able to provide it here. So currently I'm not expecting to get the logs. So you can even provide IPv6 or on or off. So that's it. Just click on create distribution. Your distribution will be created. For this lab purpose, demo purpose, I'm not creating this. So I hope you understood all the configurations. What configurations you need to configure to create your CloudFront distribution from AWS Management Console. In this way, you can able to create CloudFront distribution for your content that is present under your EC2 instances as servers, and it is hosted by using load balancer. So you can able to create CloudFront distribution like this. For S3 static website hosting also, we have shown how to create a CloudFront distribution. S3 static website hosting as well we have seen in this video. Okay. So now how do we avoid it? In this video, we have already explained one important point, that is avoiding the bypass of CloudFront distribution. So even though you created CloudFront distribution, some of the hackers will avoid using that CloudFront distribution and they directly request to your servers. So how do you avoid it? So to avoid direct access to origin, what we do? So to avoid direct access to origin, here in EC2, what we done? We have provided what? We have provided header value, right? Yeah. So we have provided header and value fields. So by using this header and value fields, what happens? So whenever your request reach to your CloudFront, then this CloudFront will use those header and value and send the request to the Elastic Load Balancer. Then here at Elastic Load Balancer, it checks for both header and value. If it finds those both header and value, then only it will accept the request and able to provide the response. So if any hacker directly try to access this EC2 load balancer origin directly, then his request do not contain any header and value. So in this way, we can able to avoid that request. This load balancer won't accept that request because it does not contain any header and value, right? Yeah. So now, how do we avoid direct accessing to S3 static website hosting? How to avoid direct accessing to this origin, S3 origin? So in order to avoid this, what we do is we initially put our bucket under private. That means we blocked the public access. We block public access. We block public access. So then what we do is we provide OAI, origin access identity, in while creating this CloudFront distribution. We we provide this origin access identity. At last, in order to provide access to this CloudFront, so to provide access to this CloudFront to put or get the request, we just write bucket policy. So in that bucket policy, we specify we are allowing only this CloudFront to do operations like put and get option. So like this, we can able to avoid direct access to your origin as well. So whenever he directly tries to access your website by direct URL, then what happens is your website will shows like a 404 error, page not found, like that it will get. So whenever you created like a block public access, then it will show you the access denied option. And then since you provided this bucket policy and OA option to this CloudFront distribution, if you request through this CloudFront distribution, then only your website will be accessible. So in this way, we can able to avoid direct access to our origin if we use this CloudFront distribution. I hope you understood this video. I feel this video is contentful. Then if you feel this video is contentful, then please like, share, subscribe and hit the bell icon to get the latest updates. Thanks for watching. See you back in the next video with another interesting topic. Until then, bye bye guys. Thanks for watching again.